Hi everybody, Jennifer Blevins-Smith with Integral Clinic Solutions, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Navigating the Business of Medicine. Today is about quality improvements, and it's kind of the third part of the series that I'm doing. The first part was quality assurance, the second part was quality control, and now we're talking about quality improvement. And I just want to put out there that I am not a professional. I have not gone to school for this. I just have learned from being on the job and having to do a lot of this work myself, and making sure that this is taken care of in the practices in which I worked. And so I'm speaking out because a lot of small practices, either one, think they don't have to do it, or two, it's not high on the priority list, or three, they're not even aware of it. So I just wanted to do a video to bring it to your attention so you can plan on this and start implementing it if you're already open and operating and not doing it, because it does lower a lot of your risk of liability, but it also will increase patient satisfaction, patient clinical outcomes, staff satisfaction, efficiency, help with saving money. I mean, the list goes on. There's studies supporting all of this. I encourage you to do your own research when it comes to healthcare quality assurance and quality compliance and quality improvements. So I'm just giving you kind of my take on it and my suggestions and why it should be done. But like I said, I am no professional by any means. I just know that it needs to be done, and I kind of know where to start and the good places to kind of identify this stuff and work on this. My first video was on quality assurance, and second one was quality control. So again, if you haven't seen those yet, I recorded these and am releasing them in sequence. So go back and watch those first before you watch this one. I think it will help make everything kind of make sense and put together. Basically, quality assurance is developing of your policies and procedures. Your quality control is checking to make sure those policies and procedures are actually relevant, that they're efficient, and they're taking care of and achieving everything that you hoped they would when it came to patient outcomes, patient satisfaction, staff efficiency, staff training, all of that. So the quality control, when you're doing that, you're going to be identifying places that need some improvement, and that's normal. Don't think that you're ever going to have things that are just perfect and not need to be touched. Like I explained in the first video, things just naturally evolve. They naturally change based on compliance and regulation requirements, based on the needs of your patients, based on the skill of your staff and your provider knowledge base. I mean, there's so many things that can influence just a natural, changing part of your practice and your business. So you want to make sure that you're keeping up on that. You're changing when things need to be changed. You're implementing it formally. You're training staff as they need to. And the quality improvement is going to be something that will be ongoing in your practice, but you will have some of that more formal improvements and implementation as you do the formal quality control and making sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to. Of course, again, anything that comes up egregious in between your formal checks of quality control and quality implementation needs to be dealt with right away. But when you're doing this regimented quality checks, whether it's creating new policies and procedures for new things that you are started doing or offering in your practice to patients, or if it's to change and adapt to things, there are things to keep in mind, and a lot of that has to be perspective from a staff's point of view, from your patient's point of view, and then also from compliance and regulation point of view. So you have to make sure it's like a Venn diagram, right? You have those overlapping circles, and you have this here, this here, this here, and then you're going to have to make sure implement is going to be that little piece in the middle where they all three overlap. So, those are the things that you need to keep in mind when you're doing this. And if you've never done it before, if you're unaware of some of this stuff, it's definitely worth bringing someone in at least the first time that can show you the ropes, explain things to you, and help you through it. And most likely you're not going to have time to do this, so you're going to have to hire someone to do the quality control and the quality implementation. hopefully you have a manager or an administrator that is familiar with this, comfortable doing it, that you trust, that can report back to you. And then as the medical director, whomever that is in your practice, whether it's you or someone else, can come together and make sure that you are putting these improvements and implementing the improvements together from all aspects that you're looking at things. Quality improvements could be anything from how you're scheduling patients, how you're checking them in, to how you're handling them in the office when it comes to triaging them or offering certain services to them, who's going to be seeing certain patients for certain things, how you're going to schedule them, how you're going to bill them, how you're going to send statements to them for patient responsibility, how you're going to bill the insurance. I mean, every single thing you do in operations needs to be looked at under a microscope regularly for quality control, and then implement those improvements where you have identified maybe that there's a little bit need of improvement, there's some deficiencies, or there's a need. A lot of times, doing quality control and quality improvement could include doing surveys from the staff and your patients to see where they're identifying some needs or areas where there are some frustrations or risks involved, and definitely making sure that you have that staff involved not only with identifying the issues in the quality control, but with the solutions. Be solution oriented. Let them know that you're open to their suggestions, because they're the ones that are actually doing the work, the hands-on that these policies and procedures affect. And if they tell you this sounds efficient on paper, but in real life and practice it's not, listen to them and maybe either implement their suggestion, or you guys can come up with some kind of compromise suggestion. And just because you put something into place or you change a workflow or a policy or procedure doesn't mean it can't change again down the future. And like I have talked about, things just naturally evolve, things change, they need to be flexible, and this is part of that. Because if you're not willing to identify, you're not willing to be flexible, you're not willing to come to solutions, then you're just going to find yourself having a lot of staff turnover. You're going to find yourself having struggling getting patients or patients returning to see you. You're going to see decreased patient satisfaction with them not wanting to come back, but also them not wanting to pay their bills, or their care is not good, and that is affecting, poor clinical outcomes would be horrible. And so, that's why this is all important, not just for the compliance and regulations, because trust me, that is very important, but also the patient safety and the staff satisfaction. And if you saw my former videos that I just released, you will see that staffing in healthcare and other industries is already a huge struggle. So anything you're doing is going to make them either appreciate you or not appreciate you, depending on which way you're going in the person's perspective. But my point is that there's so many people hiring that they probably are like, oh, I can leave here and just find another job, no problem. It's not like it's hard to find jobs right now. So staff retention is really important. Not only is staff turnover expensive, it's frustrating to patients and other staff members, but it's just not okay. I mean, you want to make sure you're fixing the reasons why they're leaving. And so if you're willing to be open to that and make sure that you are trying to make things a better place to work, a better place for patients to come in and get care, and all of the above, then you're going to be sitting really well. So, watch my quality assurance, then you have quality control, and now quality improvement and implementation. I mean, doing that on a regular basis, scheduling it, making sure it's not getting overlooked or pushed to the side, and that you're diligent about making sure that happens. I mean, that's only going to benefit you. And like I said, yes, I know it can be expensive. It can be hard to find the time with everything else that you have to do in a small practice, medium-sized practice, but it's definitely needed and warranted. That's why there are special departments for this at large corporations. And this isn't just in healthcare. I mean, quality assurance, quality control, quality improvement, I mean, it's in every industry because it's really important, and people have identified through research and studies why it's important in their specific industries. And they pay people who have specialized in this and have training and education in this because it's an important part. So don't overlook that. Definitely keep it in mind. If you have any questions or comments about this, leave it in the comments below. Smash that thumbs up button if you haven't yet. It helps with the YouTube algorithm and I would really appreciate it. And then subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I haven't mentioned this in a while, but share my videos, share my YouTube link channel to your friends or colleagues whom you think would benefit. I am growing, but I still want to grow bigger. So please, I encourage you, and I kind of want to beg you, but I won't beg you, to share with people whom you feel it would benefit. So again, thank you so much. Take care of yourselves and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.